Welcome to another episode of the Weekly Entertainment Wrap-Up. We have a lot of goodies for you this week.
That's right. We got a lot of good stuff to talk about, so let's get into it.
All right, kicking things off with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Seth Rogen is rebooting the franchise with the animated series set to kick off on August 2023. What do you think about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Yeah, so Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we grew up with it. I really enjoyed it as a kid. It's one of those shows and movies that's been rebooted several times. And everybody likes to bring their own flavor to it. I think Seth Rogen, just reading on what he was talking about, what he wants to do, I think sounded pretty good. He said he wants to, in this one, wants to focus more on the teenage aspect of the Turtles, right? I mean, yeah, they're like these kick-butt superheroes, but they're also still teenagers at the same time, right? So there's still that teenage aspect that needs to get focused on, because these guys aren't adults, so they're gonna, make teenage mistakes and they're gonna be kids,
Yeah, I liked the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle franchise. I liked it. The original series, I watched the cartoon when I was younger. I didn't so much care for the Michael Bay ones. He tried to do something different. I thought what he did well was change the Turtles up. They all looked and acted differently. Mm-hmm. But that story was just too sloppy for my taste. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think so. I mean, I didn't think they were horrible. I kind of liked the Michael Bay ones. I mean, they definitely could have been better. But I tell you what I really enjoyed when we were growing up as kids, man. So
Vanilla Ice?
Yes, that's right. That's right. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the Vanilla Ice. But seriously though, how about that arcade game, man? That thing was outstanding. The 4-player action. You go to the skating rink on a Friday night after school. Everybody get there and start dropping in the quarters. That was a good time.
Yeah, I do remember going to arcades and playing that. The 4-player co-op was amazing on that. I remember the graphics at the time. I said, "There's no way you could get better graphics than this."
Oh yeah, pizza time.
And like the sounds and stuff, the whole cowabunga when you first load the quarters in was awesome.
Mm-hmm. I thought they did a great job with the villains, at the end there with Shredder and Krang. That was awesome. You couldn't beat that game back then.
Yeah, definitely a fun game. Up next, we have news regarding Jupiter's Legacy. Apparently, that show's been canceled just after one season.
Yeah, and I'm not too happy about that, to be quite honest. I really liked that show. I thought it was good. I liked the fact that they brought a different aspect to the superhero in that. These guys just weren't born with the powers. They didn't just get zapped by some kind of crazy thing and boom, they got a power. They had to earn it. They had to actually go out and go on this long trek and earn these powers. I mean, they went through a lot to get them. And I also like the fact that they threw a horror aspect into this movie, or into this show. So it wasn't completely just, action and, it wasn't your typical superhero genre. They threw some horror aspects into it. Like I said, the way they got their powers was pretty cool. I liked the twist at the end, how they did with the villain, because you really couldn't see that coming. I mean, the last couple episodes, you kind of had an idea, but prior to that, you really didn't know who that person that ends up being the main villain was going to be the main villain. So I kind of like how they threw that in there, and they just left it wide open for a season 2, and I was looking forward to season 2.
Yeah, and I haven't seen this series, so I can't really comment. Did the first season wrap things up nice, or does it kind of leave you hanging?
No, they completely leave you hanging for a season 2, and I guess, the thing is when it dropped, evidently it got a lot of viewership, right? Like the first couple weeks, it was getting a lot of viewers watching it, and I guess it just fell off too quick for Netflix, and they decided not to make a second season, which is, in my opinion, very disappointing.
Okay, and next we have some Cruella news. That movie just came out last week, and now we're already hearing rumblings of a sequel in development. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like the fact that they're making a sequel to that movie. Disney has a horrible track record of making sequels. They've got they're really good at ruining, films by making sequels of them, and I don't like that. I thought the first Cruella left you with the feel good at the end. It left you just satisfied. You knew how she was leading up to that point. They kind of left it to where you could just really seriously pretty much just roll right into 101 Dalmatians after that, and you'd be like, okay, I know who Cruella is. I don't think there's a need for a second one, and quite honestly, I really hope Disney doesn't ruin the first one for me by making a second one that's just not that's subpar to the first one.
I am a little bit worried as well on this because this first one kind of reinvents Cruella and how she is. She's not truly a bad character, so I'm worried that she'll roll right into this bad character, and I really like what they did with this first movie. So yeah. I'd hate to see that shift into a standard 101 Dalmatians type of movie.
Right, exactly. I'm not. Tell you, I don't have a warm and fuzzy about this. I really don't, but I'm hoping they prove me wrong.
Hopefully they'll do something good with it. They still have a lot of time to work things out. So
yeah, because as far as I'm concerned, this Cruella was by far the best Disney live action movie that they put together so far, and hopefully the second one doesn't take away from that.
Okay, next we have Wedding Crashers 2 news. story has supposedly been written. Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson are set to return, and filming starts in August. Are you ready for Wedding Crashers 2?
Yeah, I tell you, man, I really loved the first one. That movie was great, and I like what they did with it. But in this one, it's going to be like geriatric wedding crashers. They be crashing some funerals. I mean, these dudes are in their 50s now, and I don't. They waited way too long, I think, to create a second movie, and I don't like that, and I'm not. Hopefully they prove me wrong here. Hopefully it's a good movie and they find some kind of aspect to it. But do I want to see 50-something-year-old Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson trying to crash weddings and pick up young chicks? It doesn't sound right to me.
Now, the original is probably like one of the top 10 comedies of all time, in my opinion. So I love Wedding Crashers. I would like to see more of it, but I am hesitant because like we've seen this with like Dumb and Dumber, right? Where the first movie was good, Dumb and Dumber 2 didn't really hit the mark, and there was a significant gap between those two movies, and I just felt like some of the magic was lost.
Yeah, they just waited way too long to make the second one.
So I hope that's not the case with this. I guess we'll see and find out. I mean, these days, if the original movie's good, a sequel's just bound to happen at some point.
Right, and it happens quickly nowadays. They're not waiting 15 years, to make a sequel to movies typically anymore. So, yeah, we'll see how it plays out.
Okay, we got some news regarding Matrix 4. Supposedly, Christina Ricci has been added to the cast along with Neil Patrick Harris and some old favorites coming back, Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss. What do you think about the Matrix 4?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this movie. I like the original 3 films. The first one, I think, was the best. I mean, the other 2 were okay. Wasn't necessarily a big fan the way they closed it off, having everything being copacetic and kind of a stalemate with the machines. Saying, hey, let's just let bygones be bygones and get along here. So I'm hoping they do something, exciting in this 4th movie, and I'm not, not a big Christina Ricci fan. I like Neil Patrick Harris. I think he'll bring some to the movie. I'm not against Christina Ricci as far as, her movies are okay. I mean, Casper, Addams Family, Black Snake Moan, but I just think there's better actresses out there that they could have brought to this film.
Yeah, I don't mind her. I thought she did really good in Casper for what it was. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. The first movie, obviously a classic. That movie did so many things different, especially with the camera angles and the action stuff, the slow-mo that you haven't really seen before, which is commonplace in movies now. So, I mean, that movie was really groundbreaking at the time. So, I'm looking forward to more into that series. It started to drop off in that 3rd one for me, but hopefully they can bring it back. Surprisingly, like Lawrence Fishburne is not going to be back in this one, and that's kind of disappointing.
Yeah, he said he wasn't even asked to come back for this one. So, I don't know if they're just going to... Well, evidently, they might not be getting rid of the Morpheus character altogether. Evidently, they're going to bring somebody in to play a younger Morpheus, potentially. So, I mean, is that trying to tell us that this is going to be kind of a prequel? Or,
Which is odd, because they still have Carrie-Anne Moss and
Neo, right. So, that is kind of odd, but we'll see how that, see how it works.
So yeah, that is disappointing, but hopefully, like I said, they'll get it together, and this will be a good movie. I could go for some Matrix 4, but only if done right. So
this kind of goes along with what we were talking about earlier too, with like waiting so long to make another episode, right? So hopefully they didn't wait.
Keanu Reeves is hot right now, though.
Oh, he is, and the guy's he's in his 50s and he's doing all of his own stunts and stuff for the most part, man. So you gotta love that guy. I mean, he does a great job, in what he does, man, and he takes acting seriously. He takes his character seriously, and he does a great job getting into the roles.
And speaking of Keanu Reeves being hot, there's some John Wick 4 news. Supposedly Donnie Yen is set to star in this 4th one.
Yeah, I got to tell you, man, I am looking forward to John Wick 4. Loved the first 3. I thought they were great movies. There's a lot of action in them. And again, Keanu Reeves doing his own stunts. There's a lot of good, it's a good storyline. I really appreciated that. I liked the villains in it. I thought, I thought it was a good franchise, man. I think it is a good franchise.
Yeah, I like John Wick. I'm starting to feel like it's overstaying its welcome, though. Like normally movies at the 3-movie mark, you start getting tired of them unless they do something really different. And I don't feel like this movie has done something that unique yet, though, to further the franchise. And I would like to see Donnie Yen come back maybe in a villain role. Supposedly he's like an ally to John Wick in this one, which I hope they have a cool villain.
Yeah. Evidently, they kind of came up together in the assassin world and done a lot of assassinations together in the past. But that would be really cool to see him as a villain in this.
Yeah, and I would like to see like maybe John Wick die and someone else like carry on the mantle of like that character or something.
Yeah, and maybe
switch it up a little bit. And we haven't seen that yet, but maybe that's in the works. I don't know.
Maybe at some point they'll lead to that.
And they've already hinted that there's going to be a John Wick 5 planned even after this 4th one. So
yeah, I saw that. I just hope they do right by the franchise, man. Because right now, I mean, like you said, it's hot. I mean, Keanu Reeves is hot. This franchise is hot. A lot of people like it. I liked it, and hopefully they do right by it, and it just continues on to be a good movie franchise.
Yeah, and I really like the gunplay in this. It shows that Keanu Reeves does a lot of training, and that comes through on film, especially during like the reloads and stuff like that. Some people do that rather sloppy. I mean, his is like real crisp and just fluid, and that's kind of rare to see that in a movie, and it just looks awesome when he's doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, I agree. It kind of reminds me of the old Christian Bale movie Equilibrium, with the gun kata in that, and just how awesome they did with the weapons in that movie. And that definitely, you see that in this, in the John Wick series. So yeah, that's fantastic the way they do that.
Movies. All right, we have a lot of new and upcoming movies coming out. Starting off with Infinite. The second trailer just dropped for that. The movie comes out on Thursday. What'd you think of the second trailer?
Yeah, so the second trailer was way more information, way more action-packed than the first one.
Yeah, you see a lot more in this one.
Yeah, you do. So. And this one really made me want to see the movie. The first one, the premise of it was cool, right? But all you really see is the Russian roulette scene in it, which is still enough to make me pique my interest for the movie. But this one, and there's all kinds of action going on. I mean, pretty much this trailer's action from start to beginning, right? Just scene after scene after scene. They probably threw all the action in the movie into this trailer. I'd be surprised if we see any more than that, but it definitely looks like it's going to be a good movie to see, and it's dropping on Thursday, so I'm looking forward to checking it out.
The premise seems really cool, too, where you got this Mark Wahlberg character realizes he's, I guess, lived for 1,000 years through different lives, so they're trying to jog his memory.
Well, we're gonna have to reset your memory. You gonna drown me? I got a thing about drowning. Which is? I don't like it.
So that seems kind of cool where they're trying to drown him or whatever.
Yeah, and then it's cool too that you finally realize the villain who was in the first trailer, right? The main villain they've been villains for centuries, fighting against each other again and again. So evidently the villain's also in Infinite. So you kind of find that out as well. So.
And this has Dylan O'Brien in it, which he's known from the Maze Runners and some other movies. I like him, so that's good to see him in this.
Yeah, definitely.
And what did you think about the main villain in this?
I thought he was good. I don't really recognize him from a lot of stuff. I know I've seen him before in other movies and stuff, but I think just from the trailer, not seeing how how the movie's gonna pan out. But in the trailer, I think he does a good job as a villain. I like him. I like the interaction you see between him and Wahlberg. Looks pretty good. They got a good dynamic together, I think. So I think he's going to do a good job.
Looks really good. I'm looking forward to it. They show some samurai sword action, a lot of good action. So it looks like it's going to be a fun ride.
Yeah, I mean, dude's jumping off on a motorcycle off a cliff onto an airplane. I mean, how much more action do you need
than
that?
Looks like some Fast and Furious business, but whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be good.
And next we have Reminiscence trailer starring Hugh Jackman. What'd you think of this?
Yes, this is going to be one of those weird psychological thriller kind of movies, I think.
Yeah, this reminded me a little bit of Total Recall a little bit.
Yeah, in a way, yeah, kind of. Because, so it kind of gives you the premise of the world's kind of going to crap. And then it's flooding, and then you can see the seas rising within the cities.
Yeah, I think it takes place in Miami in the film.
Yeah, and then and then you see that. So what people are doing now is they're using VR to remember their old memories, right? And that's kind of like, it's almost like a drug now is what it made it seem like in the movie. And people are getting addicted to this because the current world is just too crappy to live in. So they want to relive their memories. And it looks like Hugh Jackman is trying to track down like his old love, right? Evidently she's disappeared and he keeps going back in his VR, doing, remembering memories of her. And, it looks like he's doing what he can to find her here in reality.
Yeah, it looks like he's using VR to track her down. So a big mystery. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Total Recall in that Tom Cruise movie. You know what I'm talking about? That took place in the future.
Oh, yeah.
Minority Report.
Minority Report, yep.
Kind of gets me a little bit of a flavor of those two movies mixed together. So it looks cool.
Yeah.
Got a little bit of a Waterworld vibe since Miami's flooded and stuff like that. So it looks pretty cool. I'm definitely interested to check it out. I'm a big fan of Hugh Jackman. So
yeah, absolutely. And it leads you to believe it ain't just Miami that's flooded, and it kind of leads you to believe the whole world's turning out that way, right? So should be an interesting thing they got going on there. I've never kind of really seen anything like this, in a trailer, and like I said, it looks like a pretty good psychological thriller, as I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yep. And next we have Werewolves Within. This looks like a fun, campy kind of like horror mystery movie. What did you think?
Yeah, it does, man. It looks really cool. I like the fact that they based it off a video game, and it's actually an Oculus game. And Josh and I both have Oculuses. We'll get on there and play sometimes. We haven't played that game, but we've played adult board games that are similar to that.
Yeah, and the werewolf board game kind of looks like what.
Right, exactly. So we've had game nights with friends, and we played that game, and that's a pretty fun game. So the movie's based off the Oculus version of that game, so the VR version of it. But so really, what it seems like is a bunch of people that are all kind of trapped together, and at least one of them is a werewolf. And it looks pretty funny and campy, and like there's just a lot of good funny vibes to it. And and it looks like they tried to make it just like pretty much a fun movie. It's kind of the vibe I got from the trailer.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a big budget movie or anything like that, but it seems like it shows off that a new sheriff is coming into town and he's learning the ways of this small town, and then weird stuff starts to happen. Kind of gives me a Thing vibe where they're trapped in this house or town and they're trying to figure out who's the werewolf, and it could be anybody. So it looks really cool.
Yeah,
and I like that kind of whodunit, not whodunit, but like who's the werewolf.
Right, and it's got the AT&T girl in it. I mean, who doesn't love the AT&T girl, right? So.
And then next, we just saw the trailer for Old, a new M. Night Shyamalan movie coming out 23 July.
Yeah, we just saw that. M. Night Shyamalan movies are big time hit or miss. It's either it's a good movie or it was garbage. Yeah,
and everyone's relying on that twist at the end usually with him as well.
Yeah, so I liked The Sixth Sense. I liked Signs. I liked the Unbreakable kind of series, the trilogy they did with that. I thought that was okay, but
like The Village.
No, that's what I was just going to say. I couldn't stand The Village. I thought that movie was horrible. That was probably the worst one I've ever seen out of his. I wasn't a fan of that movie. There were a couple others. It was like, it just didn't. I wasn't. He just, like I said, he's one of those guys that's either his movies, you're either going to like it or you're not. So based off this trailer, it looks like it's going to be interesting. And they make the trailer, but they do this in a lot of M. Night Shyamalan movies, right? You see the trailer, you're like, oh, this looks pretty cool, and then you watch the movie, and then you get let down. So hopefully that's not going to happen in this one. The premise seems like they find this mystical beach.
Wow, you believe I found this online?
And it makes people age like that, right? I mean, it shows a couple kids. They look like they're 8 or 9 years old, and then in the next scene they're in their early 20s.
Yeah, kids run off to like a little cave area or something like that, come back, and now all of a sudden they've aged by 10 years or so.
Yeah, so all these people are trying to escape this beach and figure out how to get out before they age themselves to death. So it's looks like kind of a cool premise, and evidently there might be some kind of monster aspect or something, because there's some scenes in it where it looks like they're trying to escape from something. So I don't know. I'm looking forward to checking it out. I'm hoping it's not one of those M. Night Shyamalan films that lets me down.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I like the premise, so we'll see. Like you said, a lot's probably going to rely on this ending too and how that pans out.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, next we just saw the movie Escape Room, and now we saw the trailer for Escape Room 2. Are you excited for the sequel to this movie?
Yeah, so the Escape Room reminds me, it's a Saw ripoff is really what it is. Just with more in-depth. So the first movie was a total Saw ripoff, but instead of just there being one main thing, they've got to get through or unclasp themselves from these chains or whatever before they get killed. They've actually got to escape these rooms and get into the next room and get into the next room. So, if you're a fan of escape rooms, which, I've done several, Josh has done several, we've done them with our families. They're pretty fun, but this is the extreme version of that. And if you don't escape a room in a certain amount of time, you die in these. So it's got a very good, like I said, it's got a Saw feel to it. It's kind of a Saw ripoff, just with the escape room aspect to it. The first one I thought was it was okay. I did not like it. I thought it was an okay movie. I thought it was entertaining to watch. The second one looks like it's going to be a lot more action packed. It looks like they developed some cooler rooms, much bigger rooms, and I'm thinking this one's probably going to be better than the first. I'm hoping it's going to be better than the first.
I would have probably given the first movie a 7. The second movie looks like I think it's called the Tournament of Champions, so it kind of looks like Hunger Games 2, where you got people who have been successful in previous escape rooms all together in this one to see who's going to be the ultimate champion here. So I like escape rooms. I like the first movie. I thought it was interesting with the different rooms. I hope they keep it fresh and have some very new and exciting rooms in this one. So I'm looking forward to it. I'll definitely give it a chance. So
yeah, I hope so too. I'm definitely expecting more out of this movie than I did the first one. So we'll see. We'll see how it turns out.
Okay, and last we have a trailer, kind of more of a teaser that dropped with Shazam. There's not much to it. Just kind of shows him off in the new uniform and shows that, hey, there's essentially going to be a Shazam 2. Did you like Shazam 1?
I thought it was okay. I liked, Mark Strong as a villain. I liked, and they tried to throw a little comedy in there with the Shazam stuff. I thought it was an okay movie. I wasn't too impressed with it. It's one of those superhero movies where if I didn't see it, I'd have been fine with it. It was, I just thought it was okay. And like you said, with this second one, it literally shows you him in a new costume, and that's all you get from it. So it's just basically teasing that they're making another movie. There was nothing in this teaser except the fact that, here's Shazam in a new costume, so they're making a part 2.
Yeah, and I'm kind of with you on the first one. For DC property, I thought it was pretty good, but compared to Marvel, I don't think it's up to par with that. So I'm looking forward to it. I'll definitely check it out. Supposedly Lucy Liu and Helen Mirren are the villains in this.
Okay. Yeah, so I did not know that, but that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, what do you think about them?
I love Lucy Liu and Helen Mirren. Not necessarily. I mean, Lucy Liu, I could totally see her playing a villain. Helen Mirren, I guess I could see her playing a villain. I mean, yeah, why not?
Kind of like a little bit of an odd choice, but I'm sure she could pull it off. She's a great actor.
Oh, she's an awesome actress. Yeah, absolutely. And then you hit the nail on the head with the DC movies, right? I mean, typically the DC movies just don't add up to the Marvel. It's like Marvel somehow got that secret sauce. They got it down right, and DC just isn't there yet. They're still trying to find that. They're still trying to find that good spot, for those movies, to make their movies great. And they're just not, they're not up to par to Marvel movies.
And I thought they had that with Wonder Woman, but that second Wonder Woman was
not
good at all.
No, I didn't like it at all. I didn't like the ending of it. Where all these people are making these wishes and stuff, and it's like, really, why didn't somebody just wish that, the world turned back to normal or something?
Yeah, a lot of plot holes in that one.
Right. Or instead of wishing for more nuclear weapons, how about just wishing that the world didn't have nuclear weapons anymore?
I thought the whole movie was pretty sloppy, personally. So
yeah, exactly.
And finally, we'd like to leave you with a nice little nugget of the week. If you guys haven't checked it out, it's definitely probably worth your time, especially if you're into superhero stuff, is Toon Sandwich's Superhero Bowl. And they also have a Supervillain Bowl in a final showdown. Definitely cool. Billy, have you checked this out yet?
Yeah, it was really cool, man. I like how they did that. They basically take some alien kidnaps all the superheroes of the earth and makes them all fight each other, and then they do the same thing with the supervillains to find out who's going to be the top hero or villain left alive, right? And I like the fact that the people that created this, it was like one man and one woman that did all the voices for like every superhero.
Yeah, and this is a YouTube show, and they have almost every character from any movie you've ever seen in this. And it's just really cool because it's like gladiator style. They're all fighting it out, and it's really cool and really well done. I mean, you have like Indiana Jones fighting like Han Solo.
This belongs in a museum. That's why I shoot first. Time to die, replicant.
Various Batmans and Jokers fighting and stuff. It's hilarious. It's really entertaining. So check that out.
Yeah, definitely check it out because, we enjoyed it. And if you're into superhero stuff like that, you'll probably enjoy it too.
All right, guys, that does it for another episode of the Weekly Wrap Up.
Yeah, we hope you enjoyed it. And thanks for watching. And we'll catch you next time.
See ya.